The Trump administration has threatened and in some instances already instituted cuts to federal funding that support programs and institutions that provide critical support for New Yorkers and aid in the day-to-day operations of the city. We've seen the administration set its sights on New York City as a sanctuary jurisdiction by threatening funds provided to programs like food banks. The administration has also threatened funding for the MTA and AmeriCorps, and Trump's recent budget proposal aims to cut billions from K-12 education and eliminate programs that support English language learners. These cuts would disproportionately harm New York City's most vulnerable populations, namely immigrants, Black and brown communities, and low-income individuals. How would you respond to such cuts in federal funding to make sure that the basic needs of New Yorkers are met?
To this question, I'm uniquely qualified as the only person on the stage who has White House, State House, and local experience. When I worked under President Obama, a real president under this clown that's in the White House right now, as a person who's actually defeated Donald Trump when I was vice chair of the DNC, there are very specific things that we need to do. First and foremost, when Trump and Elon continue to come for us and they try to cut our funds, we need to withhold sending our taxes to DDC. It doesn't make any sense at all that we would have an opportunity where we're hurting ourselves because of this nonsense. When people ask, how would you do that? You would work in collaboration with the companies that are getting contracts from New York City and make it very clear you will not abide by unconstitutional behavior. Second, we need to designate all of our schools, our community centers, our masjids, any site for the LGBTQIA plus community, et cetera, as safe havens so that you don't have entities coming in to disrupt us in that regard. Third, we have to then pay for these bills because let's be very clear, when they cut Medicaid and they cut Medicare, they are coming after communities, color and low-income communities. And so that means going into the cash reserves, there's $3.1 billion in cash reserves. It means tapping into and making sure we have a vacant apartment tax to generate the revenue that we need, and being very clear and consistent that we will collaborate, yes, with the lawyers and with advocacy communities, but making it very clear when Trump comes for us, we will check him and check his foolishness. We have right now a mayor that is more concerned about staying out of jail rather than helping the people. And that is the reason why we are on this stage right now to fight for us in every possible way.
I started my business in 2008 in the middle of the recession. I stepped out on faith and started an education company. And what I discovered immediately about New York City in 2008, the filthy truth of it, is that as a Black woman and as a woman entrepreneur, there were no opportunities in New York City. In New York City, under your mayor, under your comptrollers, under all of your city governments, for every dollar, Black businesses make less than half of a penny. Hispanics make less than half of a penny. Women, they claim, make 2 pennies, but we know that that's not true, that wealthy white men put their businesses in the names of those individuals. What I'm saying to you is that I know that you're angry at Trump, but I think that the enemy has been in here for some time. And so what I want to do is really shift the mindset from poverty, and I want to do business ecosystems across the city, going across the city and really building eco-hubs so that if you want to be an entrepreneur, let me bring the coach in there. Let me develop individuals so that they understand businesses. And when that individual, what I'd then like to do is bring a venture capital in there to give them matching funds so that I'm not doing poverty mindset, that I'm lifting people up out of generational challenges. The next thing I'd like to do is give that person matching funds so I can take a kid from the Bronx to Wall Street. And so we're not doing this poverty mindset across the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Myrie on responding to federal funding cuts.
One of the darkest periods of our country's history, it was the NAACP and LDF that examined our Constitution and questioned the use of certain amendments to protect our rights. Painstaking litigation, strategy, urgency, attention to detail. They utilized the 14th Amendment and revolutionized its use. It's something that we take for granted today, but it was because they fought for it, because they were strategic about it, and they had litigation strategy. I want to do the same thing with the 10th Amendment. For those not familiar, the 10th Amendment makes it clear that cities have no obligation to carry out federal policies, and you cannot bribe us to get us to do it. So I want to hire 50 more lawyers for our law department, and I want to use that 10th Amendment and sue Donald Trump as much as it takes to protect our city. The cuts that have gone through right now are flat out unconstitutional, but we may be facing a greater threat if approved by Congress. We are in the media capital of the world. And as the mayor of the greatest city in the world, I'll be getting in front of that podium every single day, talking to New Yorkers and making it plain. Donald Trump is cutting your Medicaid. He is cutting your nutritional assistance. He is cutting your assistance to get into a hospital. He is cutting your housing, and we need a new Congress to change it and to mitigate the worst instincts.
The reality is, as one, again, who is negotiating this budget in real time, the FY26 budget in real time, we have to take precautions. As the leader of the City Council negotiating this fourth budget, I am doing exactly that, to protect New Yorkers and to begin to Trump-proof New York City. So what I mean by that is we have to have reserves set aside. I've taken the initiative to set aside $1.9 billion to help stave off the evils of Donald Trump in coming into our resources. So the reserves are beginning to build. I challenge the mayoral administration within these negotiations to do even better than that. But listen, anybody who is mayor of the city of New York is going to have a target on their back already, no matter who that person is. But when Donald Trump came to try to put ICE on Rikers Island, which has been illegal since the year 2014. I did what the person who endorsed me, the baddest AG this nation has ever seen, Tish James, she said to me, she said, Adrienne, when Donald Trump comes for you, you sue him. And so that is what Adrienne Adams is doing right now, real time, suing Mayor Adams and suing the Donald Trump organization to prevent them from coming onto Rikers Island with their illegal executive order. I will protect our immigrants. ICE will not come onto Rikers Island, not under my watch, not as your mayor.
We need a mayor who will stand up and fight and also govern strategically to protect New Yorkers. That's what I've been doing as controller and what I will keep doing as mayor. When Elon Musk stole $80 million from New York City, I uncovered it. I forced the law department into court to get it back. That's your money, not Elon Musk's money, and we're gonna get every penny of it back. When Ras Baraka was arrested over in Newark, I rushed out there, and so did Assemblymember Mamdani, because that's what it looks like when a mayor stands up and fights for immigrants in his city and for the rule of law. And last week, as part of my campaign, I organized a town hall down in Congressmember Nicole Malliotakis' district to hold her accountable for her vote to strip Medicaid away from New Yorkers. At the same time, I'm showing how we can govern strategically. 1 week after Trump was elected, I became the first financial officer anywhere in the country to show how every dollar of federal funding flows into our budget, to propose $1 billion growth in our general reserve and our rainy day fund so we can protect from the cuts that are coming. And I've laid out a detailed plan for an independent authority funded just with city, state, and private funds so we can protect abortion care, so we can protect contraception and reproductive health care, so we can protect gender-affirming care and keep funding them, but not let them take our Medicaid money out of H&H. We can fight back, we can govern strategically, we can effectively protect New Yorkers.
I want to take a moment to address a candidate that's not here with us, who is also running for mayor, Mr. Andrew Cuomo. And I want to address him because it looms large over this race, and specifically the ability to stand up to Donald Trump. You know, if we elect Mr. Cuomo as the next mayor, we are also electing a person who's currently receiving hundreds of thousands of dollars in donations from the very donors that put Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. And when we have a mayor who will stand up for New Yorkers, we need to ensure that they don't have to pick up the phone from Bill Ackman. They don't have to pick up the phone from billionaires. The only phone call they have to pick up is from the New Yorkers that they represent, the people who have been left behind. And that's critically important in this moment as we're all looking to turn the page on a mayoral administration today that has told us in place of courage, all they can offer is collaboration. We need to ensure that that collaboration isn't replaced by cowardice. And that is what I will do. I will stand up and ensure that when we look authoritarianism in the eye, we do not see a reflection of it in our own mayor. This city, it's a city that I moved to when I was 7 years old. It's a city I grew up in. It's a city that I love. It's a city where I got my citizenship.
Thank you.
And it's a city where I know that is under attack for so many New Yorkers. We deserve a mayor who will stand for them.
Thank you. Welcome to Senator Jessica Ramos, and goodbye to Speaker Adams. I think you might have gotten the gist of the question, but it's how, as mayor, would you respond to federal funding cuts and/or the threat of federal funding cuts?
Well, thank you. What a historic place to have this discussion tonight, and I apologize for my tardiness, courtesy of the R train, but that's what happens when you're coming from one borough to the other on the campaign trail. I'm so happy to be here with all of you because I know each and every one of us in this room takes the resistance that we must have against Trump and his administration very, very seriously. I believe that lawsuits are certainly going to be critical, litigating against the dehumanization of people and the abdication of our responsibility to safeguard each other's human rights as it pertains to housing, healthcare, and so many other things is going to be very important. But what do we do with a president who does not care if he loses in court? What do we do with a president who has already stacked the courts in many places and counts on a Supreme Court that does not see the Constitution the way we do? And that is why I believe in wasting no time. I believe that right now, as a state senator, I have power to make change happen. And it's why I've already introduced the Recourse Act to lay the groundwork for my administration, so that not only are we suing and winning and praying that this administration actually cares someday about the rule of law, but that we actually withhold our federal taxes from an administration that will unlawfully withhold funding from the things that we need in order to protect each other.
Thank you.
As a father of two young kids, 13-year-old and a 12-year-old, they're not my grandkids, my kids. I can't imagine what it would be like to have those kids go off to school one day and get taken off the streets. Think about what people are going through with ICE and with Donald Trump, not just in New York City, but around the country. This is a very perilous time. And if we're going to protect our people, I believe experience matters. And I think strength matters in the next mayor. You know, with Trump won, my way of being defiant was when he was a non-believer in climate change. I initiated the largest fossil fuel divestment in the United States of America, $4 billion. When Donald Trump and his gun nuts were running around the country, I divested all our holdings from gun manufacturers. When Donald Trump talked about putting people, immigrants, migrants, in private prisons, I divested from private prisons.
Thank you.
We have to have strategy, but we also have to
Thank
be
you.
bold at this moment.
Thank you.